Welcome to the ODWC Test Kitchen. My name is Smokey Solis, and today we're going to make Italian elk sandwiches. So for today's recipe, we're going to use elk roast because that's what was donated to us, but you can actually use venison or beef or whichever kind of meat you'd like to use. So to begin, we're going to take this roast over to the pan. You're going to heat your pan up to about medium-high heat, and we're gonna actually sear each side of these roasts just to create a crust and really get some nice flavor into this dish. All right, so we are done putting this crust on the outside of it. So now the next part, I've turned down my stove top to low medium probably. So when you deglaze, I'm gonna deglaze with some beef broth here. You're just going to add it to your pan. And this is actually going to be the part where we are making our jus, or like the juice that goes along with the sandwich. And you're going to get this to a simmer. So a low boil simmer. And you're just going to kind of scrape along the bottom of the pan to get all those pieces off of the bottom. And you can kind of see here all that floating stuff in the juice. That is all flavor. Right now I turned down the stove to probably medium level, and we're going to add in our spice mixture. All right, so the next step in this process, now that this has been simmering for a second and we added the spices, is we're gonna put it into the oven. We're gonna put a small piece of parchment paper over the top and then let this go in the oven 250 degrees until the internal temperature of this meat is around 140 degrees. That's about a medium rare, which is exactly what we want. All right, so the next step is we are going to wrap this in plastic wrap. We just took it out of the oven once it reached around 140 degrees. That's about medium rare for beef, which is where we want it. And now we're gonna wrap it in plastic wrap and stick it in the fridge so that it stops cooking on the inside and then also firms up so that when we go to slice it thinly, it does that easily. Now we need to get our broth ready, or our jus. So basically you're going to take all that juice that we cooked the meat in, and we're going to add a few things here. First off, depending on how much juice you end up with, you can add more or less water, but this is going to be salty. You want it to be salty because we're not putting much more on this other than meat, some peppers, and this juice. So you want this to be full of flavor. So now we're gonna add, I'm gonna add probably about 3 cups of water here. And then I'm going to add some beef bouillon paste. So you can use the paste, you can use the powder or the cubes, and we're just gonna add 2 teaspoons here. You can see this is very thick stuff. And now we are just gonna wait for this to come to a boil, and we're gonna stir it around. So we just pulled these out of the fridge, and they're a lot firmer, a lot cooler now. So next step is to just make sure that you want to kind of shave this off here, and you want to get this as thin as possible, which is why we got it cool. So nice pink color in the middle, and you want to do it kind of a sandwich portion at a time, and it's okay if they're not evenly sliced slices. It's kind of like shaving the meat here, and obviously the sharper your knife the better for this process. If you mess it up, that's okay, but yeah, you can see kind of how nice and thin that is. And so basically we're going to move over to our juice that is on the stove boiling. All right, so we're just gonna put it in this boiling juice here. You wanna kind of separate it so it doesn't stick together in the pot. And we're just gonna let that heat up. And depending on how hot this is, it could take anywhere from 30 seconds to a little more. But you wanna just kind of let that marinate in there, really get the flavor of those juices inside that meat. All right, so next step, once this has been heated up, I grabbed my brioche roll here. It's been toasted with some butter, and we're just gonna fish out these great slices of elk out of this juice. And it is definitely okay if you get that bun soaked, because that's just gonna bring a ton of flavor into this. One more slice here. We have a few things that would typically go on the sandwich here. We have some sweet peppers, and you can get these at the store, or I'm gonna mess up this word here, but we think it's called giardiniera. Hey, we can fix that. But anyways, this you can get this in varying spices, either spicy or mild. Just depends on how you actually like it. But this is a great mix, both great options. I'm going to grab a fork really quick. It's a tough one.
It's like giardiana.
Yeah, giardiniera. Yeah, so we got this mild vegetable crunchy mix here. It's called giardiniera. All right, so I'm just gonna throw some sweet peppers on my sandwich here. It's my topping of choice. Put your top on, should be good to go. And yeah, so that bottom slice just soaked up all that juice, and let's see how this turned out. That's awesome. Definitely recommend, give this recipe a try, and use whatever kind of meat you have, because this is an awesome, awesome recipe. Thanks for watching.